the human being remembers the one whom he or she loves, especially if that beloved is God. But who is able to remember him as he deserves to be remembered? We are remembering you all the time. We are filled with your love. Şems says, I wish people knew that happiness is in the gathering of friends, that they might mingle with each other and show their beautiful faces, so that love might appear among them. When one by one desires come between them, their brightness vanishes. But if you keep something within honey, it remains fresh and sweet. The air cannot find a way into it to spoil it. To some people, he says, my words may seem bitter, but if they endure that bitterness, a sweetness comes to them. One who smiles during the time of bitterness smiles because his eyes are seeing the sweetness that will come in the end. And so, according to this point of view, patience means to witness the end result of an action, and impatience means to be so short-sighted as to not be able to see the outcome. With a humorous story, he encourages us to patiently persevere. He tells us about someone who was a rope dancer who would walk on the rope with eyes blindfolded, clogs on his feet, a water jug on his head, and holding 4 things in his hands. And he'd walk forward on the rope, back and forth, and suddenly throw himself down, hold the rope with his feet under his armpits, and hang by a single finger, and then jump back on the rope again. Meanwhile, his heavier friend would keep falling. All the time he was on the rope, that friend would keep shouting at him, I've brought you here in the name of such and such a teacher. He'd begin to weep. Then quickly people would gather the sticks and blankets and offer loads of advice. They practice tightrope walking at the seaside, so that if they fall off the rope, they fall into the water. In this way, after long practice, they become master tightrope walkers. And after that, they practice on land. Gradually, they raise their rope and learn about the best ways to stand and walk on it. Just as patience is needed for the crescent moon to become full, for the rain on the rocks to turn them into rubies, and for the drops that rain onto the sea to become pearls, these two would slowly become expert tightrope walkers through patience and practice. With time, from unripe grapes, you can make halva. Şems says to ask him from time to time, who are you? And he says, I am your servant, and day and night I am praying for you. He encourages that patience, that perseverance in this process of learning how to be true servants, and encourages us to keep good companionship, to open to the presence of the prophets, to zikr the prophets. He says everyone speaks about his own peer. In a dream, the blessed prophet gave a cloak to me, but this is not one of those cloaks that would become old after 40 days, or fall to pieces to be thrown into the furnace or used for dishcloths. Rather, it's a cloak of companionship and conversation. Not a companionship with any limits, but a companionship that has no yesterday, today, or tomorrow. For what does love have to do with yesterday, today, or tomorrow? And he tells us that even if the whole world would hang him by his beard, still if something needs to be said, he will say it. And without a doubt, even after 1,000 years, or even 800. These words will be heard by those whom I want to hear. A few people became the prophet's scribes for the revelation, those who wrote down the divine commands, and a few became the place where the revelation descends, that is the place of its effect. Work hard so that you may be both. In other words, be both the object of the revelation and the scribe of the revelation that comes to the heart. Şem's says, "Stop, O my camel. Joy has turned to its last degree. The work is finished, the way has come to an end. The earth has turned into a beautiful paradise. The time of celebration has come again, and things have been set right." He says that Mevlana would say to him, "If you are silent, your speech becomes brighter, because both the light of silence and the value of speech are hidden within silence." So for a few moments, I'd like to just invite us into the silence with Şems, into the heart, and to seal this offering with a passage from the Quran. In the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and infinitely merciful, consider time. Truly, human beings are in loss. Accept those who have faith and do the deeds of wholeness and reconciliation, and encourage each other in holding to truth, and encourage each other in patient perseverance. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati. Wa tawassaw bil haqqi. Wa tawassaw bis sabr. Sadaqallah.